After dropping our bags off at the hostel, we made our way down the cobblestone streets towards the Trevi Fountain. Named for being the intersection point of 3 roads, many come to the fountain to find good fortune. Having thrown coins from our right hand over our left shoulders into the clear water, we made our way east, climbing the 135 stairs up the Spanish Steps. Upon making it to the top, we were met with the Obelisco Salustiano, one of many obelisks found in Rome. And as gorgeous as the Trinità dei Monti church is behind it, nothing quite beats the view of Rome one gets when turning around. Continuing our trek, we cut through the green lung of Rome, the Villa Borghese Park, and walked south along the muddy waters of Italy's third longest river, the Tiber, until we arrived at our next destination, the Pantheon. Built around 25 BC and reconstructed 150 years later, the Pantheon was originally intended to be a temple to honor the 12 gods of ancient Rome. However, in 600 AD, the Catholic Church removed the pagan shrines, converting the space to honor Saint Mary and the martyrs. Today, the Pantheon houses the tombs of Renaissance and Italian royals, Raphael, and the first 2 kings of Italy, respectively. For us, though, our time inside was mostly spent looking up at the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome, presumably designed to invoke a feeling of looking into the heavens. Rounding out the day, we admired the Baroque fountain in the heart of Piazza Navona and explored the neighboring church San Agnese Niglione, while today gave us a flavor of the ancient ruins that Rome has to offer. The best was yet to come.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Day 2 began with a guided tour of the Colosseum. When it first opened in 80 AD, entry to the Colosseum was free, with attendees receiving a stone ticket, or tessera, with their seat number. We were led through the aptly named Death Door. Most people leaving this door would be wounded gladiators making their way to the hospital on this side of the Colosseum. Our breath was taken away once we saw the massive stadium from the inside. Seating up to 80,000 spectators, the Colosseum entertained the citizens of Rome for 500 years, killing roughly 5 million people along the way. The Munera, or gladiator fights, lasted 12 hours and were well produced. Using trapdoors in the floor, the scenery would be changed to accommodate the next spectacle, such as animal hunts, executions, and even recreations of naval battles, which required the amphitheater to be flooded. Our tour continued, stopping at the Arch of Titus, a relic adorned with the iconography of various Roman victories. Most notably are the north interior, which depicts a triumphant Titus, and the south interior, which shows the spoils of the siege of Jerusalem, such as the golden menorah. We then entered what was once the heart of Roman civilization, the Forum. Inside, we explored the ruins of temples and the Senate House, our favorites being the Romulus Temple with its emerald green door, as well as the House of the Vestal Virgins. Overlooking the Forum and looking back towards the Colosseum, we reflected on how true the old adage is. Ancient Rome can't possibly be toured in a single day. Having built up a gladiator's appetite, we met up with our friend Petros for pizza and wine, before heading to the Victor Emmanuel II National Monument, built between 1985 and 1935 to honor the aforementioned first king of a unified Italy. After a brief pizzolino, we concluded our second day by going back across town, reclimbing the Spanish Steps to meet Alex's sister Maddie for dinner. After an extensive wait beside the Janiculum wall, we finally made it through 2 rounds of security, leaving Italy and entering a new country, Vatican City. Inside the walls, the colorful Swiss guard keeps a watchful eye, ensuring the safety of the Pope and the Vatican's 824 other citizens. Tourists are only able to see a third of the country, such as the museum, known for its extensive collection of art and historical artifacts. Our favorites being the intricate tapestries and marble statues. Next, we saw Michelangelo's 5,000 square feet of stunning frescoes in the Sistine Chapel. Having never worked in the medium before, it's a miracle that it only took him 4 years to complete. Finally, our tour of Vatican City ended in St. Peter's Basilica, the world's largest Catholic church. After a much-needed nap, we walked through the illuminated ruins to get gelato, which turned out to be the best of the trip. We then met Petros for dinner, where we of course had to eat more pasta. And while the entrees were great, the desserts, well, you get the idea. With a few hours left before our train to Florence, we decided to see how the locals live, thrifting some fine Italian wares and grabbing a quick bite at the local open-air market. However, we quickly realized we had made a tactical error. The Roman marathon was well underway, and as the crowd thickened, we worried we would miss our train. Luckily, we made it right in the nick of time, and with that, we were on our way to Florence. After a long day of travel, we finally made it to Florence, and admittedly there's no great segue here, but Atomic Falafel gets a special shout out, because it was honestly some of the best falafel either of us have ever had. Finally, with Florence being the birthplace of the dessert, it only made sense for us to grab some gelato before getting a preview of the Duomo, admiring the beautiful architecture and the pink, green, and white marble that adorns its exterior. With less than 24 hours to explore the city, we walked through the open-air leather market and got breakfast in the Mercato Centrale before visiting the Duomo, this time to see what's inside. 140 years in the making, the Gothic interior was breathtaking. But Vasari's Last Judgment, the world's largest fresco, was truly something to behold. Leaving the Duomo, we met with Alex's sister and crossed town. After a nice dinner, we made our way to the secret location of the Rasputin Speakeasy for a nightcap. And on our way back to our hotel, we walked parallel alongside the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, the only Florentian bridge to survive World War II. Having learned nothing from our last pre-train excursion, we decided to walk to the other side of Florence, where we climbed up to Piazza Michelangelo. There, we were greeted with a gorgeous panoramic view of the city and a bronze replica of Michelangelo's David. Leaving Florence, we took a train north towards the coast and our final destination. Known as the Floating City, Venice consists of 121 unique islands. There are no cars in the town. Instead, residents must either navigate the famed canals by boat or, in our case, by foot. And this is no easy task, I might add. Between the narrow alleys and the 435 bridges that connect the islands, the city feels like a giant maze. But finally, after checking into our hotel, we had a celebratory Aperol Spritz before turning in for the night. Our day of excursions began on the island of Murano. Famous for its hand-blown glass, we got to take a tour of one of the famed facilities. There, we got to watch a master work at their craft. The over 2,000-degree furnace melts the glass into a glob that the craftsman can blow air into, inflating the molten silica like a balloon and rolling it into its desired shape. Small ornaments of gobs of glass are added for decoration, completing one of hundreds of individual pieces necessary for the larger chandelier. We were also able to witness the design and construction of custom beads, mixing together various colors into unique designs. We then took a boat to the next island, Burano, which is famous for its vibrantly painted buildings. As the legend goes, the thick evening fog caused fishermen to, quote, spend the night in the wrong bed, leading the women of the island to choose unique color palettes for their homes, eliminating the thinly veiled excuse for infidelity. Next, we went to a local lace-making shop where we were shown the process and some of their top products. Unfortunately, lace-making is a dying tradition, as few young people have the desire to spend the time necessary to perfect this challenging trade. Later, back in Venice, and on our way to dinner, we stopped by the Migrant Child, one of just 150 Banksy pieces that can still be found in the wild. For dinner, we had traditional kosher Venetian food, which consisted of whole sardines. Unfortunately, neither of us enjoyed them very much. To round out our final day, Sarah found an awesome free panoramic view overlooking the Grand Canal. With only enough time to do one more activity, we headed to St. Mark's Basilica. Built in 1094 AD, the ceiling is adorned with 8,000 square meters of gold mosaics, a fitting conclusion to such a golden trip. And with that, our Italian tour was over. 4 cities, 6 modes of transportation, and over 220,000 steps taken, it was finally time to go home. Until next time, cheers.